There's a lot of wealth to be made. And so I bought a one-way ticket back. I had too many Nigerian aunties and uncles that were planning to go back to Nigeria. In 2 years, I'm going back in 2 years.
And they never
20
made
years later, they're still in the States.
Yes.
So I didn't want to do that. So I bought a one-way ticket before I left Nigeria. Went back to work in Chicago. A year exactly, I was back in Nigeria trying to figure out what to do.
Seyi Abolaji graduated from Stanford University with a restlessness in his soul and a determination not to be average. He worked in corporate America for a short while before he left it all to head home to Nigeria, seeking to make an impact and a fortune. Seyi founded Wilson's Juice Company, makers of Wilson's Lemonade, with his brother. Here is their story of grit and determination.
Stanford seed, we right here. We right here. We believe, we believe, we believe. We believe in community. Stanford seed, we right here. We right here. We believe, we believe, we believe. We believe in community.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Diaries. I'm Wamaka Okoye, your host. And with me today, I have Seyi Abolaji of Wilson's Lemonade, or Wilson's. Wilson's. Very nice to have you, Seyi.
Thank you, I appreciate it. I'm glad to be here.
Great. And you came all the way from Ota.
Ota, Ogun State.
How did you come?
I moved around on a bike here.
On a bike?
Yes.
How many hours is that?
It took me about an hour and a half.
Wow.
I got corners that
You must have been going very fast.
My mother may watch this, so I go jeje, slowly.
I like that. Oh, fantastic. Well, thank you so much for coming over, and we're really excited to have you here today on Diaries. So we wanted to talk about your entrepreneurial journey. Tell me a bit about Wilson's. Who's Wilson's for, and what does Wilson's do?
Wilson's is for people who like to be different, are proud to be different, like having a good time, feel empowered by what makes them different, what makes them unique. We started this just to provide a healthy alternative, to provide a cool, healthy alternative to what was on the market. When I came back, while we were in the States, Mom and Dad used to always jab us and say, you're made in Nigeria, you're made in Nigeria. Every time we wanted to drink anything fizzy or go out to eat. But when I moved back, found it really difficult to do anything healthy, to do anything natural, either extremely expensive or difficult. So, Wilson's was birthed, like we started with fresh squeezed orange juice, then we started doing smoothies, then we started doing lemonade, and that lemonade just took off. And from that, we saw an opportunity to add value, do more. So we started packaging and got NAFDAC and the rest, and here we are now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had Wilson's Lemonade. The packaging is very beautiful, very, very attractive.
Oh, wow. Appreciate that.
Yes, it just stands out. I don't know if you guys have seen it in the supermarkets, but it looks really good. So lemonade, and you said we.
We, yeah.
Who's the we?
So Houston is attractive. I have to say that's my brother. That's so my elder brother is also my business partner.
Okay.
And we're like a team. I'm more of the back end operations, culture, HR, finance, all that, how we get it done. He's more of the, make it look good, make it feel good. So the packaging is, I had my version before he joined on. And yes, the packaging is like
huge difference, huh?
Very big difference. So he's just really, really creative. And we just, a lot of what we do at Wilson's is talk about this, create better, right? So, create, just don't be scared to be different, take the lead, be different, and then better is a process of continuous improvement. And, we're very intentional. We spent weeks on that design, getting a square bottle because everybody else had round bottles. So we wanted to be different. And then you'll see on all of our products, there's stories. Those stories are real stories that, how we started Lemonade is a lot of our mother was in that, just moms, don't tell me about what's wrong. Tell me what you're going to do about it. All right? Don't tell me what challenges you're facing. Tell me how you're going to overcome the challenges. So as we saw, lemons is literally and figuratively, Nigeria is full of lemons. So what are you going to do about it, right? So that was a nod to Mom. All of our products have stories. because I'm an avid reader. I love reading. I was late to the game of reading, but since I opened up my first book on my own, it just opened up a whole new world. Opened up a whole new world to me. And for us, there's like a lot of our spirit in that product. Anybody who reads it should be inspired. Anybody who reads it should see and should feel energy. So it's like all of our products, like very, very intentional. So I'm glad you said it looked good. He's going to be happy about that. But we put a lot of work into it.
It does.
Yeah.
You said you're late to the game of reading. What do you mean?
I've always been like a gira type guy. Just like I like moving, I like getting things done. And so I learned, dad and mom both had their PhDs in the US.
Oh.
And both found it extremely difficult to find work. So from a very young age, I told my father, I said, I did a calculation. It was like, they spent 20 something years in school. I was like, hey dad. And I thought I was like smart. Dad, I did it. You spent like 27 years in school. And like, you can't get a good job. I'm not going to school. So he gave me one of those African
backhand.
Proper.
Hot slap.
But he was like, you're going to school. So no conversation. But at the time, I think I was a little naive and foolish saying it the way I did. But what I meant by that is like, it's not about certificate. It's like, what value are you adding? So I didn't see the value in their certificates. And that, like, I was young enough to be foolish enough to say, oh, so I don't need to read to get ahead. But it was like, no, you don't need to get anybody's qualification to get ahead. That's what I've known that for a while. But you should read to get ahead. So I went to Stanford University, and the big lesson I got at Stanford is you have the smartest kids in the world there, and none of them were scared to look stupid, and none of them were scared to sound stupid. And they would ask what seemed like stupid questions. But the reality was they were just really curious, and they wanted to know. They weren't stuck on pretending like they knew, or they just wanted to know. And that was like that was my certificate, saying like, I'm here, some people that are working with us that didn't go to school, when they say something that picks my ear, I just sit down like I'm a small kid and say, tell me.
Explain.
But then you have people that want to pretend like they know and like they feel bad when they don't know, so they'll just be making up stuff. And it's just like, man, there's like, the goal is to be less stupid every day.
Oh, I like that.
Right? Eventually you'll get smart, but don't worry about getting smart. My goal is I want to be less stupid today. And I'm saying it in a very crude way intentionally, because sometimes like that's how it needs to come to really sink in. Like, yeah, so it's in this age, it's like, don't say you don't know. Don't tell me you weren't qualified, you didn't get certificate.
There's
All that
no
doesn't
excuse.
matter. Yeah, so what do you want to do? And going back to Stanford is like, and don't be scared to learn. Like, ask better questions, you'll get the right answers. Like, think about better questions, get the right answer. Got a job in Chicago with MasterCard. And then I hadn't been back in Nigeria for like 10 years. I just came to visit. And then there's a bug in Nigeria that just bit me, It said, it's bad enough to keep a lot of good people away. But if you're willing to put up with a certain level of, what's a better way of saying rubbish? A certain level of rubbish, yes. If you're willing to put up with a certain level of rubbish, right?
Yes.
There's a lot to do. There's a lot of value. There's a lot of wealth to be made. And so I bought a one-way ticket back. I had too many Nigerian aunties and uncles that were planning to go back to Nigeria. In 2 years, I'm going back in 2 years.
And they never
20
made
years later, they're still in the States.
Yes.
So I didn't want to do that. So I bought a one-way ticket before I left Nigeria. Went back to work in Chicago. A year exactly, I was back in Nigeria trying to figure out what to do.
Wow. So how old were you when you did this?
Was back in Nigeria before I turned 25.
It's incredible.
Or foolish.
Well, hey, you've got to stay foolish to make big wins.
Steve Jobs spoke at our commencement, and he said it, stay hungry, stay foolish.
Stay hungry, stay foolish. That's it, yeah. So you left a good job, I presume?
I was making more money my first job out than my parents were making after 25 years in the States.
Oh my goodness.
So dad didn't talk to me for like a year. when I said I was going back to Nigeria, Dad was like, "You're going where? To do what?" So literally for next year, hey Grace, tell your son.
So they were not very excited about you wanting to come back.
Mom is a Nigerian mother. She just loves her children and she prays. So if she disagrees, she'll pray.
And let God tell you.
Right? But Dad is like, hey, God told me to tell you. Nah, Dad wasn't having it. He was just like, they left here for better for us, right? You go to Stanford. You're making too much money for your age. You're going where? To do what? Like, it didn't make sense, right? So, and, but the thing that they gave us, as Nigerian parents is like, hey, it's your life. And, you're a man when you start taking responsibility for the outcomes. Be they good or bad. Once you start saying it's my fault, you're a man, no matter what age you are. And it caused troubles because by the time I was 13, 14, I was like, hey, if I fail, it's my fault. If I succeed, you'll be happy.
Yes.
Right? So at a very young age, it wasn't about a daddy, can I, or mommy, can I? It's here's what I'm going to do. But it was a tough year. He didn't talk to me for like a year.
Really?
It was challenging.
Wow. But, and you and your brother, so did you convince your brother or did he?
I think convinced. So I came back and we're very different. So it's great. Like having a partner like my brother is just fantastic because we're so different. And then that element of trust is there. So I came back, failed at 2 businesses.
What were those?
Came back to do a palm kernel oil business with my uncle. He had been running he told my parents he'd been running the business. I think you know where this is going.
I can imagine, but
Mom and Dad were sending money home to build the business. And it looked good on the surface. The second day I came back to Nigeria, I haven't seen the guy.
It was a scam.
Complete.
Oh, so, that's terrible.
But I
and that's what you came back to do?
Yes, now. I saved up my money, saved up like 40, 50,000 USD. I didn't go out, didn't do anything for a year, just saved up. And I came back and I was supposed to bring money in. So I figured, 2-3 years, work under him, learn Nigeria, learn the ropes. He disappeared. I was like, how difficult can it be? I could figure it out.
Yes.
So that was my Nigerian business school. I definitely spent the money to go to school. Learned a lot. Business failed. And so the thing is I'm just like a natural operator, I think. So where it failed is on the sales side. Like I was selling on credit. I didn't understand at that point in time in Nigeria, I'll pay you tomorrow. All it means is I'm not paying you today.
I'm not paying you at all.
It turned into that, right? But I really genuinely thought people were honest and had integrity, and I learned the hard way. So I was paying people cash for raw materials, selling on credit, and the cycle just didn't turn over and ended up folding that up. But I couldn't so me and my father still weren't talking at that time. So I couldn't tell Mom and Dad what was going on. So either I had to pack up and go home or I had to find something else to do.
Okay.
That's how we started with the juice. So, I'd been here almost 2 years at that time.
All right.
And I was drinking fizzy stuff. I was doing things I wasn't I'm an athlete. I understand the importance of what goes into your body. But it was so easy to get into this quick drink, quick this. And I was getting sick. I was in the hospital 6 times in 9 months. Malaria, typhoid, all that stuff. And I just had to sit down. I was like, all right, let me just start getting healthy first. So I went to a university kiosk, went to speak to the manager and said, hey, can I be doing orange juice here? So she agreed to let me pay at the end of the month. Went to the market. There was a local market, bought some orange juice or some oranges, got a little plastic juicer. No one triangle here, you squeeze it.
The manual one, you just squeeze,
About 1,700, 1,800 naira. That's how we started. So started squeezing juice on the university kiosk. Students were pointing and laughing at me. I was like, I don't think you guys understand. I don't have to be here. But they were laughing. But the goal at that time was to make 210 naira a day. 100 rice, 50 naira fish, 60 naira malt. That was it. I had to make enough money to eat one meal a day. One meal a day.
Wow.
So I didn't understand fasting at that point in time. Now I fast intentionally, but I guess I was fasting. So
by force.
Yeah, did that. And then that started growing. Then did smoothies. And then, like I said, one day I went to the market. At that point, like I was doing everything on my own. Then I saw some lemons, and it literally just flashed in my mind that, in the US, when life throws you lemons, make lemonade.
Yes.
And it was almost like a joke, but I got the lemons. So my brother was just in town visiting. Mm-hmm. So you were talking about my brother. He would just come and visit. Through that time, he'll come for 2 weeks. When he had a break, go back. And when I started the juicing business, he came once. The next time he came, the next year, it was a little bigger. Then he came and I was doing the lemonade, and it was a little bigger. And then he was the one that actually made it a business. I'm sure I would have got there, but I was so busy operating. He was like, hey, put this thing in a bottle. Because we were doing fresh squeezed lemonade. We would sell like 200-300 cups of lemonade in a night. And he was like, put this in a bottle. And I didn't think about it at that point in time. So that night, went and picked up some old bottles on the floor, went home, used a toothbrush, washed out the bottles, made 10 bottles of lemonade. We only sold 2 the next day. But it was amazing that, like, you have hundreds of cups, you can't really count.
Yes.
But 10 bottles minus 2, you should have 8. Yeah. And I had the money. So it was like the business really started at that point.
What did your dad have to say about this?
So by the time my brother came back, between then and when my brother came back, it was, look, I didn't call them, I didn't ask them for money. And there were people. First there was 2, then there was 10, there was like 15 people that were paying salaries. And then Dad was like, well, I guess you're doing something, right? And then when my brother came, who was like super responsible, not impulsive in any way, thinks things through. So I think by the time he came, that was like, all right, there has to be something real going on, right? So he wasn't like, hey, congratulations.
Yeah.
But he was just like, okay, tell me about what you're doing now. Right?
So that's like grudging acceptance.
Yeah, it's not grudging, but I mean, like he's been through it. You know what I mean? Like they both had PhDs and they were doing manual labor, and it's like they did that so we wouldn't have to. So him seeing me, when my mother came back to visit, so I built a little wooden shed as a house. I had an knee for a bed. I used my blanket was like my pillow. Then when it got too cold in the middle of the night, became my blanket. So she came. And so, mind you, I didn't realize any of this. I was just focused on what we're trying to do and where we're going. And she just started crying. She's like, what happened? Like, what are you running from? Like, why are you going through this? And I didn't see it. I didn't feel it. I was just focused on where we were going. So yes, I'm saying that like, it wasn't grudging. It was just like they left, they went through that in their own way.
So we wouldn't have to. Yes.
So just kind of like jumping back into that. It was like, why? But I was reminding them like, hey, you saw opportunity. Like you guys left your friends. You guys left jobs. I guess Nigeria back in the day was when you finished school, like things were lined up for you. So like you guys left opportunity to go somewhere that you saw more opportunity. Like, so you guys taught me this. I was trying to let them know this is you that taught me to go pursue opportunities, right? Not to stay in your comfort zone.
And so you came back and then you moved to Otta.
Yes. The only family we had was in Kwara.
Okay.
And I didn't see much happening in Kwara in terms of business.
Yes.
And then my mother mentioned her school sister, I don't know what it was. Is this school mother?
School mother probably, yeah.
Probably. The school mother's son lives somewhere close to Lagos. So mind you, in the US, Lagos is like where everything is happening. So I didn't know where Otta was.
So Otta is somewhere close to Lagos?
Yes. That tells you my geography. Yes, yes, yes. So I heard
Well, I
close to
guess,
Lagos. So I
yeah.
was like, no, I want to be there. So moved. So she connected me with this guy, but I told him still very, very close brother to me now. And he let me stay at this place.
Oh, that's
So I was living at this place for like a year and a half. So and then that place was even closer to the factory that they had built. Man, that,
wow. This sounds. I mean, you're a very determined person, though.
I haven't thought about this for years. I don't know why it's coming out now.
Well, I mean, I'm glad you're sharing it. You're very determined. I mean, you just decide this is the path you want to go and just go regardless of, how uncomfortable it might be, because you have a vision of where you would like to go. You follow the path that's less, the road less traveled. That's the word.
Yeah.
Okay, so where has it led you to?
Look, there's impact and there's wealth generation.
Okay.
I think I've checked that impact box several times.
Tell me about it.
It's that wealth generation box that I'm working on now.
Okay.
So, I think there's just so much. Sports is just so great because it's like any professional athlete started out more likely bad or horrible at whatever they're doing. Anybody who tries to bounce a ball for the first time is not going to do it well, or tries to kick a soccer ball or juggle is not going to do it well the first time. But this whole sports thing just teaches you the value of like starting bad and just focusing on not getting great yet, but better and always better and always better. Like I've seen lives change. Like people that's worked with our companies, several people have gone to university through the company. One of my closest, I'll even say, team members, she's a leader in the company now, is like, she's changed how she's raising her daughters because of what she's learned with our company. She has savings now. She's invested in properties now. Things that she said, I never even thought I could do. She started out, she was earning $7,000 when she started. Yeah. But just understanding and thinking about, hey, it's okay to not be smart. It's not okay to be as bad as I was yesterday. I need to always get a little better. Just that mentality. So seeing things like that, it's like, man, we're changing lives. Like with all humility, it's like, no, we're changing lives for the better. But it's like, again, end state is, I know where I want to be when I'm 40. I know where I want to be when I'm 50. And I don't want to be I retired, I had a comfortable life. I was able to take care of my children and my wife and my parents. I feel like, again, with all humility, I was blessed with so much. To only do that would be a failure. It would be an insult to what I was blessed with. So here is impact, setting up companies, empowering people, creating better leaders, and then setting up a foundation that, the type of wealth that I can create allows me to create even more. Like there's so much to do to be productive. It has to be people are voluntarily giving you money because they see value. Now, because of my faith and where I'm going when I die and the legacy I want to have, that money is not for me. Right? It's like I'm a steward. And I better steward the resources well. And I better create other people who understand how to steward resources. That's like my goal. That's my mission. That's my purpose.